You are watching the Pittsburgh Penguin Fan Show on Fan Media Network. I'm Joe Bartnick, a Pittsburgh Penguin fan. Joining me now, my good friend, Pittsburgh Penguin fan, puck-off co-host, the one and only Andy Picarro. What is up, Andrew?
Nothing. Getting ready for the conference finals.
Yeah, and a great one it is. The Islanders versus Tampa Bay. We can see if the Islanders, the fishermen, can keep on moving on. I like Tampa in that in 7, but it's going to be interesting. I don't put anything past Barry Trotz and company, that's for sure.
Yeah, I like Tampa in 6, but I almost hate that pick. I almost hate it off the bat and saying I think the Islanders have a real shot, but I think the Tampa will outscale them. But we'll see.
And I got Vegas in 5, which may be a little insulting, but I don't know. We'll see. I don't think Montreal's seen the team quite the likes of Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas, and I'm going to go ahead and say 6 with Vegas. I really haven't thought much about that series. I wanted to pick Canadians again because they keep beating me. Whenever I pick against them, they win. But, I just don't – I think that Cinderella story's got to end. Jeff Petry's not going to win the Conn Smythe.
Well, this is the Pittsburgh Penguin Fan Show Network. So I am. I thought of an interesting topic this week since there's really no Penguin news right now, and something I've thought about for a long time. A lot of people have been, get sick over. People get upset over. Some people don't care. Some people laugh about it. But is there a bias against the Pittsburgh Penguins in the NHL? Now, I do not think at a league level there is at all. In fact, I think they like the Penguins. I think Bettman stood up, made sure the Penguins stayed in Pittsburgh. He's a friend of Mario's. He's a friend of Burkle's. We get drafts in Pittsburgh. All-Star games are coming. It's like they make sure the Penguins are right in the mix, and they probably are the highest-ranking non-original 6 team. It helps to win 5 cups. It helps to have 2 of the 5 best players on earth to play for your franchise. But I think that's the way it is. But my concern for this show, and maybe in general, if not concern, just a thought process is I think the media is biased against the Penguins, especially the NHL media. And I had this point from our friend, the great Rob Rossi. The Penguins have made the playoffs 26 times since 1991. They've won 5 cups. They've had the scoring leader 7 times and only won 1 Hart Trophy. Or 7 times they've had the scoring leader and not the 7 times the scoring leader in the league has been a Penguin and not won the Hart Trophy. And we've only had 1 coach win the Jack Adams. He says, just saying. Of course, we all know that Mario had 199 points and lost to Gretzky, like $1.60. But that's the year he went to the Kings. So it was a big deal. Everyone made the biggest deal of it. So just a little going down memory lane. In '82, Randy Carlyle won the Norris, and then we got Mario. And then it was Mario versus Wayne for a long time. And, Wayne's the golden child. People were kind of against Mario. Maybe it's the anti-French thing. I don't know. Then the Pens 1 or 2 cups seemed to die off. Then the best player in the world was Jagr, but he was European. So they kind of always schneid against Jagr and kind of always made fun of Jagr. And, of course, we all know Gino didn't make the top 100, which is just ludicrous. That's kind of maybe an anti-Russian thing, maybe not an anti-Penguin thing. I think it's a big deal. It seems that we've beaten Ray Bourque and the Boston Bruins. We injured Cam Neely, and then we always tortured the Rangers, and then our main rivals, the Creamsicles, who called Sid a crybaby. And I think that's almost the main media bias against the Penguins. I think the only time they were kind of even for the Penguins was 2009. I kind of thought they were rooting for the Penguins over Detroit for some reason. I think they liked the Sid, the Gino, the young guns factor. But ever since then, it seems like every broadcast, I know every team says, oh, the announcers are against us. I heard a lot about it this week with Boston guys thinking that NBC was pro Islanders. But I definitely think
because they hate ratings.
Just one more thing. I always thought they were Washington always seemed like they were always Ovechkin's the more complete player than Sid, which is BS. Then Nashville, I never saw. I mean, how bored were these Canadian reporters that they had to go to Nashville to have a good time? They wanted them to win so bad, and I don't know. It just seems like the last 10 years for winning 3 cups and first time back-to-back since Scotty Bowman, seems like the Penguins don't get their due. Your thoughts?
Well, in wrestling, you don't promote the heel, and for the fact of the matter is that when I was a kid, I went to pretty much most of my Penguin games were away games. I never remember fans hating the Penguins at all. I never remember any hatred versus the Penguins. And I'm talking late 90s, 2001, 2002, wearing a Yager jersey in the Garden. Everyone's like, hey, at least they're not the Islanders. At least not the Flyers. Everyone's high-fiving. Sid changed everything. Sid made everybody hate them. And it's the league that did it by trying to market Sid as, he's your favorite player. Don't worry about everybody else. He's your favorite. And Ranger fans were like, no, he's not. And the league was like, yeah, he is. And they made the NHL store right on 6th Avenue a Sidney Crosby shrine for like 2 years. It was a Sidney Crosby store. And that was the kind of thing. I'm not saying that made New Yorkers hate Sid, but everyone was told he's your favorite player now. And a lot of people in the league went, no, he's not. And then he just kept winning and beating their favorite teams. And the marketing for it had to change. At some point, the people to TV had to realize most people watching don't like this guy. Because when he first came in, all it was, oh, how great is Sid? Let's look at this replay 9 times. And then as Ovechkin kind of became the anti-hero and became more liked, isn't that way still, but more liked in New York than Sid. He became more liked, obviously, in Philly than Sid. And all of a sudden, you have this protagonist for everybody who's not in Pittsburgh, and Alex Ovechkin, this antagonist in Crosby. And I think the media has played into that because that's just the narrative that works. But I think it really is because of the league trying to force Sidney Crosby down everyone's throats instead of letting it happen naturally.
And I also think, let's face it, Philly, Boston, and New York are much bigger media markets. So you're going to play up to that when you're doing the telecast. And
absolutely.
And Canada still can't get over the fact that, Mario loves Pittsburgh. He never went back. And then Sid kind of loves Pittsburgh, and he's not going back. And they can't stand that. It's like he won them the gold medal. He saved their country. But he's the golden child, but they're just anti-Pittsburgh in the sense that he came to Pittsburgh and gave us 3 cups. And Toronto still hasn't won anything since 1967. And, they just hate the fact that, we've kind of had the best offensive teams for 30 years. And most of Canada still wants to play the lumberjack from Saskatoon is just as important as the guy that scores 2 goals and has 3 helpers.
Yeah, I think if anything, though, that's a great example. Was Montreal I went to Sydney's first game in Montreal, and it was like a Sidney Crosby party. Everybody in red and blue was rooting for Sid to at least play well. And when he scored in the first few minutes of that game, they cheered. And they cheered when he came out at warmups. And then Colby Armstrong throws the big hit, and all of a sudden the Canadians hate the Penguins. And Sid became hated. He became a complainer very quickly. And again, I think it was Canada just being like, why are you telling us we have to love this guy that's just going to keep beating us? Why do we have to hear about how great this guy is after he just beat us in overtime? Why do you got to talk about it constantly? And I think that it's been a complete switch of he's the bad guy. He's ruined a lot of nights for a lot of people in the sport.
He's realized, and it all really started with Ken Hitchcock in Philadelphia, and then Tortorella picked it up. It's just, they're just jealous. And I always say jealousy is no good on anybody. I mean, Lindros used to kick our asses, and I love Lindros. I'm like, I wish he was on our team. I've never been a jealous guy, maybe because I was, had Lemieux, and then I had Yager, and then I had Sid and Gino. It's easy not to be jealous when you have those guys, but it's an interesting, I just, as a Penguin fan, we were kind of the laughing stock forever. And then we had Mario, and everyone's like, oh, we love Mario. And you can be a Mario guy and, battled cancer, kind of everyone's hero. And then Yager was cool, and it really did change. Once we had Sid, I used to just have the only jersey I could wear in any arena was Ronnie Francis. He had diplomatic immunity.
Yeah.
He couldn't wear any other Penguin jersey. I had to wear the Captain Ron. Oh, we love Captain Ron. That was it. Now, now it's kind of we're a hated team, which kind of is great because kind of like the Yankees and the Canadians. You have to be great to have a lot of rivals. The Penguins probably have more rivals than anybody, but maybe the Rangers and the Canadians.
Can I just ask this though?
How many teams were we the top 2? Where we're like the second or number 1 most hated team? Probably more than Penguins are probably first or second on that list for a lot of teams.
Besides the Wings and the Blues, though, nobody hates the Blackhawks. everybody hates the Penguins. Like there is an extra thing. Like everybody hates the Penguins. And if it were just about winning, then there'd be people talking about how Jonathan Taves is a crybaby and how Patrick Kane. There's a lot of things you can say about Patrick Kane. None of that's ever said, right? Yeah. It's always about the Penguins. So I do think it's just. I think it's natural. It's like you said. It's good to be hated. It means that you won. I think that the combo of just Sid being that good and everyone learning about how good he was, having it forced down their throats, made them just hate him and that logo now. I don't think it'll ever go away.
And he's kind of perfect. There's nothing to complain about other than you don't like him. Even the whining he hasn't done anymore. So it's kind of, you're picking on a guy who's really has no faults.
The whining was created by the media too. The whining was the ISO cam watching him all game for no reason. Some whining. I think another thing that adds to it is we won the lottery. So that was we tanked for Lemieux and then we won that, which is like, okay, tanking, yeah, people could live with that. We just won the lottery. And then you see, well, Flower was first pick, Gino was second overall pick, and then we won the lottery and got Sid. So it was kind of like we got an instant dynasty. Wasn't Jordan a 3 and like Brooks a 5 too? Like they were all low picks.
Yeah, but I mean Brooks and I don't think there's people is upset that we had Brooks or pick and Jordan Stahl. Sid and Gino and Flower are going to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, but they have one less cup without Brooks and Jordan.
Yeah, I'm down. I've always been down on Brooks Orpik because I'm never big on guys that throw hits and then don't fight. And I think he cost us a lot of aggravation those last couple of years in Pittsburgh by, hug somebody, take a punch in the face, Brooks. You've caused, especially that whole deal with Boston. That was a cluster F, in my opinion, for no reason. You went around and hit people, you got to pay the piper. Everyone hates Matt Cook. Matt Cook answered the bell.
Yeah, and Vander Kane really rung his bell.
And everybody else.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the LinkedIn fan special. Fans connect with me on LinkedIn under the puck off, and leave your questions and comments, and we'll look at them and get to them on a later show when we get to summer programming. This was a fun topic. Any final thoughts on this, Andy? I don't want to have to edit this. I think we're still good.
No final thoughts. I'm just, hoping. I'm going to go ahead and say I'm pulling for Tampa Bay to go back-to-back or for Montreal to win again. So Tampa Bay or Montreal, hopefully one of those two logos lifts the cup.
Yeah, as much as it would dampen the, hey, we could be the only team in the last 50 years, if in 2040 no one's gone back-to-back, I just really enjoy watching Tampa Bay play. And I'd like to see them win. All right, everybody, that's Andy Picarro. I'm Joe Bartnick. That's our show.
To host a fan show or appear as a fan on a fan show, simply create a profile on Fan Media's iOS app or website. Select your teams and make a short intro video on your phone. Show hosts, reporters, former players, and superfans can use our Get Verified feature and make an intro video as well, and our mobile newsroom staff will reach out.